Welcome back to the Enfield Talking Newspaper. Now we return to local news with Janet.
Inspired by her mother, an Enfield landlady will be taking part in a charity walk for an Alzheimer's charity. Anne Murray, the lady of Tommy's Bar in Hertford Road, is hoping she and her customers can raise money for the Alzheimer's Society after signing up for the Regent's Park Memory Walk. She's taking part because her mother, Mary Rogers, 87, has Alzheimer's, and as a result is no longer able to recognise any of her family. Miss Murray said, "It's horrible. It's difficult to see this former vibrant woman who used to be a teacher get everything so confused. One thing she does mix up is languages, as both she and my dad were from Wales, so she speaks both English and Welsh." After being diagnosed 7 years ago, Mrs. Rogers has been living in a home for the past 5 years because she would often get lost walking around town. Her daughter added, "I'd get a phone call from the hospital. Mum would have got lost when out shopping in an area where she'd been living for 50 years. She would get confused and the shopkeepers would phone an ambulance because they were concerned. It is estimated that 3,000 people in the borough have Alzheimer's, and Tommy's Bar landlady believes that more people should pay attention to older generations. She said, "I've got a customer in the pub, and I've noticed signs of the condition. If he's borrowed money, he forgets, and he has lots of other memory problems. Also, he's still driving, so that's a concern. His daughter said he's got dementia, but not Alzheimer's. Because I've got experience of the condition, it makes me understand about it, and I can look out for him." The walk will take place in Regent's Park on Sunday, September the 14th.
Despite the national drop in GCSE results, schools from Enfield have bucked the trend, with many seeing a significant improvement. Many sleepless nights were had across the borough as results day drew closer, yet schools had cause to celebrate, with some of them achieving new heights. Of 18 schools, 15 saw a rise in the proportion of pupils achieving 5 A-star to C grades, including English and Maths. The average rose from 55.5% in 2012 to 63% this year. St Anne's Catholic High School in Oakthorpe Road, Palmer's Green, produced a 28% increase in students achieving 5 A-star to C grades, including English and Maths, the best in their history. Head teacher Siobhan Gilling said, "I'm absolutely delighted by the GCSE results we have had this year, and I'm so proud of the staff and students who have worked incredibly hard to achieve them." Also celebrating a groundbreaking year was Edmonton County School in Great Cambridge Road, Edmonton, as the number of students achieving 5 or more A-star to C grades increased from 51% in 2012 to 65% this year. Head teacher Dr. Susan Tranter said, "I'm absolutely delighted by the results we have had this year. It is a fantastic achievement by the school and a remarkable improvement." Councillor Ifa Orhan, who is responsible for children and young people in Enfield Borough Council, said, "Our young people are making swift progress, and our schools are responding well to the changing demands in the examination system, producing some outstanding successes. Parents can be reassured that school staff, governors and pupils are doing a fine job, which is reflected in our improving results." Elsewhere, Enfield County School in Holly Walk, Enfield, maintained its 17% of students getting 5 or more A-star or A grades, and at Latimer School in Hazelbury Road, Edmonton, 100% of students received 5 or more A-star to C grades.
A young girl with a rare illness will be rewarded for her bravery and named Most Inspirational Child in the 2013 Well Child Awards. 9-year-old Nicole Christou from Winchmore Hill was 6 when she was diagnosed with an arteriovenous malformation, or AVM, which causes her to bleed from her nose, mouth, gums and eyes at any time. Nikki's award came as a surprise. Her consultant dermatologist, Mary Glover from Great Ormond Street Hospital, secretly nominated her for exceptional courage. She said, "Nikki is remarkable in the way she remains calm and tries to make things better for those around her." When the little girl found out about her award, she was very ill and decided to undergo a 9th operation last week so that she could attend the ceremony. It feels so amazing that one of my doctors nominated me, Nikki told the Advertiser. Nikki's illness has caused her to lose sight in her right eye and miss out on much of her childhood as she is unable to go to school and play with other kids for fear of bleeding. The brave girl is recovering and looking forward to wearing her new purple and gold bubble dress to collect her award. The Butterfly AVM charity, founded by her parents, Tanya and George, was Nikki's idea after she was diagnosed. The charity has raised more than £70,000 through donations, school fairs, baking, marathons and triathlons towards research into the condition at Great Ormond Street. Nikki has raised money by doing odd jobs such as gardening and cleaning for her neighbours. Her mother Tanya said, "She really is an inspiration. Despite all of this, her smile goes on. The treatments are keeping her condition under control, but there is no cure." Her father George added, "It's about awareness and support, not only for Nikki, but all AVM survivors. There needs to be more research. We have hope through the hardship." The Well Child Awards are taking place at the Dorchester Hotel in Park Lane, central London, and will feature royal patron Prince Harry and celebrity guests, including singer Rod Stewart and comedian Russell Howard.
This is an article by Doug Taylor, the leader of Enfield Council. We enjoy at this time of year the dappled sunshine of late summer and the beginning of leaves browning on trees as trees prepare for the cold weather. Even while we seek to hang on to summer shorts, we need to consider one particular aspect of winter. Once again, this year, the NHS will be running its flu immunisation programme to protect those at greatest risk. And Enfield Council is urging older people and those in high-risk groups to get themselves vaccinated. The Council took over the reins of public health in April this year. We are committed to putting public health at the heart of everything which we do to ensure everyone gets the best possible support to follow a healthier lifestyle. Public health is about taking any holistic approach, making the healthy choice the easy choice, encouraging people to adopt a healthy lifestyle and promoting disease prevention. Which brings me back neatly to flu vaccines. The vaccination campaign aims to prevent serious illness and deaths from flu, reduce the spread and protect vulnerable people. The vaccination programme aims to be as complete as possible before the virus starts to circulate. In the very near future, GPs across Enfield will start receiving stocks of this year's flu vaccination, starting their seasonal flu campaign, inviting vulnerable patients to come in for vaccination and running clinics. I cannot stress enough how important it is that residents accept these invitations, as they could literally be lifesavers. As a council, I want us to do everything we possibly can to help residents stay healthy. As someone once said, prevention is better than cure, and this flu vaccination can be at the heart of that strategy.
And now we have an opinion piece from Howard Medwell. A-level grades did not show an improvement this summer, so we missed the usual sneers from Conservative MPs about grade inflation. One statistic did catch the media's eye, the 10% drop in the numbers taking foreign language A-levels, which was a cue for all those traditional jokes about the English being rubbish at languages. When I was working in London secondary schools, foreign languages were probably the most heartbreaking subject to teach. The teaching strategies that were then fashionable required the pupils to speak the language aloud before they had a real idea of its structure. Boys, in particular, often found this irritating. In any case, which foreign languages should our schools teach? In other countries, the choice is obvious. All children learn English. And not because it is the language of Shakespeare, but because it is the language of global capitalism. But if English is your native tongue, which is the next most useful language? Spanish, Chinese, Arabic? It is simply not true that ordinary English people are naturally bad at learning languages. Take John Williams, the Edmonton missionary, who was killed in Vanuatu in 1837, for example. An uneducated sheet metal worker, he was sent by the London Missionary Society to the Pacific, where he learned a number of local languages simply by living among the people. Williams went on to translate the Gospels into the Raro-Tongan language, a task which necessitated not just learning Rarotongan, but also inventing an alphabet in which it could, for the first time, be written. Throughout the 19th century and into the 20th, there were thousands of English missionaries, many of them from humble backgrounds, who mastered exotic languages. We may not share their Christian piety, but if we want to learn a foreign language, we can emulate their respect for native speakers and their determination to communicate.
People living in Bush Hill Park are invited to the annual meeting of the area's Residents Association. The meeting will take place at Bush Hill Park Bowls Tennis and Social Club in Abbey Road, and the annual gathering will see new officers elected for the branch. The evening, called Reaching the Residents, will also include a talk by the ward's Labour MP Andy Love and a councillor who will explain their roles in the community. Committee member Douglas Coker said, "We've had a couple of people move away and some are getting more elderly and unable to do what they did in the past, so we are ideally looking for younger people with more energy. It's an important part of civil society. Associations can act as an aid to solving problems. Volunteers will be required to attend a monthly meeting and must be willing to help residents with issues that arise there, helping them to understand the systems of local authorities. The association also stages hustings for candidates during election periods. The meeting on September the 19th starts at 7:30 p.m.
A synagogue has been saved after the congregation voted to keep the place of worship open, even though numbers are dwindling. After 3 members of the board of the Palmer's Green and Southgate Synagogue stepped down from their voluntary post in May, more than 1 in 10 of the congregation signed a petition calling on the United Synagogue, the body that governs the synagogues nationally, to close it down. However, at a special general meeting of the congregation called by the governing body, the majority voted for the synagogue in Brownlow Road, Palmer's Green, to stay open. But one member of the congregation who wanted to remain anonymous fears that keeping it open will depending heavily on the United Synagogue will mean the Jewish community in the area simply melts away. He said, "With no new families coming to the area, unfortunately the congregation numbers will continue to dwindle and the synagogue will eventually lose its relevance to the local community." A spokesman for the United Synagogue said, "The special general meeting, which was called by members of the shul, was carried out with respect and dignity. In this case, the community has elected to keep it running, and we will now be informing the whole community of the results and asking for members to come forward and take up the leadership positions within the shul executive and on the board of management." A spokesman added that without volunteers to run the synagogue, much of the administration would fall to them. According to figures from the United Synagogue, Palmer's Green male membership has dropped from 337 in 2000 to 180 today, and the synagogue is in financial deficit.
An Enfield librarian has been named amongst the best school librarians in the country after he was nominated for a national prize. Narrowed down from hundreds of school librarians across the country to just 4 hopefuls, Oasis Academy's John Iona will have to now beat off competition from St Paul's Community College in Waterford, Don Valley Academy in Yorkshire and Marymount International School in Surrey to win the 2013 School Librarian of the Year. However, the 32-year-old was very humble when he discovered that he had been nominated by his peers. He said, "I was nominated back in January by my line manager Rob Bird, which was a real vote of confidence to receive. I had heard of the award, but had never considered that I should be nominated." Mr Iona will discover his fate at the Hotel Russell in Bloomsbury, London, on Monday, October the 7th, but the librarian has already had to make it through 2 rounds to book his place at the prestigious final. Asked what made him stand out from other librarians, he said, "I've always tried to welcome new challenges and the chance to develop my professional skills, knowledge and practice. I'm never content, always wanting to improve, develop and learn." When evaluating his chances of winning, Mr Iona added, "I wouldn't like to make any predictions. Having reached this far, I guess there is no reason why not."
Now here's an article about cricket with some good news for one of our local teams and some not so good news for another. Skipper Jack Plum expressed his delight after Enfield Cricket Club cruised to a 6-wicket win at North London on Saturday to be crowned champions of Division 3 of the Middlesex County Cricket League. Plum played a key role in the triumph by hitting an unbeaten 85 to guide Enfield to 178 for 4, after Adam Ezekiel had taken a hat-trick to help dismiss North London for 177. There was a good celebration on Saturday night, the captain said. Getting promotion was definitely our aim at the start of the season, and it's even better to end up being crowned champions. We all got on so well and have really gelled as a side. We are a young team and we want to go as far as we can. Meanwhile, Winchmore Hill look increasingly likely to join them in the second division after their hopes of avoiding relegation from the top flight suffered a huge blow with a 7-wicket defeat at basement side Eastcote. Scott Newman made an aggressive 79 and Jim Gatting added a battling 67 as the visitors recovered from a dreadful start to post a competitive total of 226. But Hill's bowlers never looked like defending their score in the face of an unbroken 4th wicket stand of 130, which guided Eastcote to 227 for 3. Elsewhere, Southgate finally banished any lingering threat of the drop from Division 2 by beating Ickenham by 71 runs.
Broomfield Park was packed with people and as revellers wrapped up a week of community events for the Palmer's Green Festival. The park buzzed with activity throughout the day as crowds flooded into the zoned areas throughout the park in Alderman's Hill, Palmer's Green, which included salsa classes and funfair rides, as well as copious amounts of food stalls. Raving at the success of the second annual festival, Treasurer Carl Brown admitted he was thrilled at how the day had passed off. It was quite extraordinary. It was better than we could have hoped for. Although I didn't have time to stop from about 6 a.m. until 4:30 p.m, the weather for the day was perfect, and the numbers on Sunday were at least a third or possibly half again on last year. We can't count. But there was a lot across 3 main zones and the funfair from 2 p.m. Mr. Brown added thanks to all who contributed, to Enfield Council for its support and Winkworth of Palmer's Green for sponsoring the festival itself, so allowing free enjoyment for so many.
Money will be spent on increasing the number of plants and animals in Enfield's parks and green spaces. Higher level stewardship grants have been given to Enfield Borough Council to clear scrub, plant hedges and allow grass and flowers to grow in 6 public parks. Grovelands, Hillyfields, Whitewebs, Forty Hall, Trent and Oakwood parks will all have special works undertaken to deliver more wildlife-friendly land. Currently, 70 hectares of scrub have been removed and hedges installed in some areas to encourage birds breeding. Councillor Chris Bond, who is responsible for environment policy, said, Enfield Council is doing all it can to protect the environment that we live in and making our parks and green spaces havens for wildlife and flowers. This recent work in 6 of our parks is starting to reap real rewards.
Parents of more than 1,000 2-year-olds in the borough are now entitled to free childcare. The government has introduced the 15 hours of free education for 1,300 of Enfield's poorest families. The scheme has been rolled out for families who qualify for free school meals or those who are looked after by Enfield Council. Next year, the free childcare will be extended to families who earn less than £16,200 and receive working tax credits, as well as those with children who have been adopted, are in care or have a disability or special educational need. Marking the scheme's introduction, Deputy Prime Minister Nick Clegg, and this article is accompanied by a lovely picture of Mr. Clegg here, he said, this free support is focused on helping the families who need it most. All the evidence shows that if you take 2 children, 2 5-year-olds hanging up their coats next to each other on the first day of school, the poorer child will already be behind the better-off classmate before a single lesson has been taught. Without this help, children suffer and the class suffers as teachers have to focus more of their efforts on children who are frustrated and left behind through no fault of their own. The introduction of this scheme has forced the council to re-evaluate care provided at children's centres. A consultation ended in July and the results are being analysed. The council is expected to make a decision soon on how many places for under 2s will be available in the future. The scheme is costing the government £534 million this year, providing 130,000 children nationally with free childcare.
Enfield is hoping to lead the way in combating cyberbullying after community associations offered advice about the dangers of social media. An event at the Dugdale Centre in London Road gave parents, teachers and children the chance to learn about the dangers of cyberbullying and how it can be beaten. Co-hosted by Loving Social Media and community group Love Your Doorstep, members of Enfield Police and Enfield North MP Nick Dubois attended the event as the borough looks to tackle the online programme. Mr Dubois said, "This scheme hasn't come from any authority or central government. It has come from the people of Enfield, and that's what makes this so good. It's wonderful to see Enfield people trying to solve a quite horrific problem. I think we can lead the way, and I'm championing new methods on how to tackle cyberbullying in Enfield." One speaker at the event who had experienced cyberbullying or trolling and spoke of her involvement in the new initiative. She said predators online are taking advantage and trying to expose people's vulnerability. It's happening in thousands of homes every day. It's a pleasure to use my own experience to inspire others that there is help out there, and I hope I can be a good voice for the programme in Enfield and raise awareness for young people in schools across the borough. We are only just scratching the surface with cyberbullying, and we hope to take this into schools and get them on social websites. There are 6 or 7 signs that a child could be bullied, and we want to do workshops with parents to educate them. LYDS's Emma Rigby added, "Social media classes to parents are an essential part of our strategy. Their children could be getting bullying sitting next to them in their home, and they would have no idea it is happening. We hope Enfield can become the leader in this field, and we hope to have the full backing of the community."
Tributes have been paid to a saint-like man who died when his minicab was involved in a 3-vehicle collision in Palmer's Green. Ahmet Vural, 54, of Edmonton, was driving his green Ford Galaxy when it collided with a black BMW 3 Series and a 29 bus near the junction of Alderman's Hill and Green Lanes in the early hours of Saturday, August the 24th. The father of one had been a driver for station cars in Southbury Road, Enfield Town, since 2005, and the company's managing director, Mehmet Combat, told the Advertiser that his death had had a huge impact on his colleagues and friends. "He was like a saint to some of the drivers here," said Mr. Combat. "He was quite a religious person, and he was a very placid guy. The way he used to explain things to people so eloquently, and always with a smile on his face. Everyone who knew him, not just his colleagues, but customers and friends, have been deeply affected by his death. Regular clients of his have even been donating money into a fund we set up here to help his family. Ahmet leaves behind his wife of 12 years, Tuba, and an 11-year-old daughter." A close friend, Mehmet Setin, who had known Ahmet for 25 years, added, "He will be very much missed by everyone who knew him. He was a very good man." A post-mortem gave the cause of death as head and chest injuries. An inquest was opened and adjourned at Barnet Coroner's Court last week. The driver of the BMW, a 24-year-old man, has been arrested and released on police bail. The Road Death Investigations Unit at Chadwell Heath Traffic Garage is investigating the collision. Any witnesses are asked to call 0208 597 4874. That's 0208 597 4874.
The chain behind an Enfield hotel says future visitors will benefit from comfier beds and more pleasant rooms. The 132-room Travelodge Hotel in Great Cambridge Road was refurbished to the cost of £85,000 as part of the company's nationwide investment. Some of the improvements include a new room design and the instalment of a new bed known as the Travelodge Dreamer. Hotel manager Zaid Lamy said, We are very excited to have been selected as one of the first hotels across the Travelodge estate to benefit from this investment.
A magic show was the perfect send-off for 19 children as they said goodbye to their nursery. An emotional farewell at Woodbury Day Nursery in Churchill, Winchmore Hill, saw family and staff celebrate pupils leaving the nursery with a magic show and plenty of other treats for the children. Manager Michelle Corney said, "Everything we do here is focused on sending happy and competent children into mainstream schooling. We are celebrating that, but saying goodbye to children we have looked after since they were babies is very difficult."
After more than 30 years of providing fast food, a Southgate restaurant has closed its doors. Wimpy in Chaseside has spent more than 3 decades serving customers, but due to financial problems has been forced to shut. Jonathan Landy, a regular customer, said, "My family and I had been coming regularly to Wimpy since we moved to the area in 1993, and it is very sad to hear this news. Unfortunately, it is the end of an era." Wimpy UK refused to comment.
We have reached the end of our programme for this week. Thank you for listening. So from the team of Janet, Katherine, Keith and Robin on the controls, it's goodbye.
Bye.
Please remember to turn over the address label in your postal packet, put the cassette into the packet and return it to us as soon as possible, in readiness for the next edition. Don't forget you can call Diane de Jersey regarding any help you may require in connection with Enfield Talking Newspaper. The Enfield Talking Newspaper will be with you again in 1 week's time.